everyone, this is Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts. I've been using QuickBooks Online for over 25 years now. I'm also an accountant, and during this long period of 25 years, I have learned all kinds of things on QuickBooks Online. I have made mistakes, learned how to fix them, and I come to you to help you understand all the tips and tricks that can help you use QuickBooks Online in the most efficient way possible. We're going to go over all the new updates with QuickBooks, and today we're going to address how to close your books, or how to know that your books are ready to be closed at the end of the year. So for you who is a business owner, pay attention to all the steps. And for you accountants and bookkeepers, we have all the steps set up for you that you can follow on QuickBooks Online. All right, so without much further ado, we are going to QuickBooks Online. Let me maximize this page. And this is the new interface of QuickBooks Online after the updates. Everything is there plus more. So don't be afraid of working with QuickBooks Online. Is kind of like somebody went to your house and cleaned up everything and organized everything, and now you don't know where everything is, but everything is still in there, and we're going to go over where those things are. Okay, so the first part that we want to know is accounting. You can get there in different ways, either on the top or under apps accounting, and here you'll be able to see all the tools that you had before on the left-hand side menu. One of them, starting for accountants, you see books review or client overview. For you who is a business owner, bank transactions, so that you can categorize all transaction. Integration transaction, which is Square, Shopify, and Amazon. So everything is going to be in here. Receipts, where you can see your receipts that you have added before or add receipts. Reconciliation tab, rules, chart of accounts. That's where you see all your accounts and make correction if necessary to your chart of accounts. Recurring transaction, my accountant, where you share documents with your accountants, and Live Expert as well. So for QuickBooks, for those of you who use Live Experts. Okay, so we also have the subdivision of expense and bills organized here on the left-hand side. The expenses or bills, you have overview, expense transactions, vendor bills, bill payment, mileage, contractors, and your 1099, which is coming up pretty quickly in 2026. Sales and get paid is all about customer income transactions. So we're going to have the sales transaction, invoices, payment links, recurring payments, sales orders, sales channel, QuickBooks payouts, and channel payouts such as Shopify, Square, and so on and so forth. Okay, customer hub, you have your customers and estimate, payroll, anything about payroll, teams, you have your employees, contractors, workers, and lending for those of you who want to lend money from QuickBooks, which is available through a line of credit, or if you have a QuickBooks checking account. We have the sales tax tab right here. That's where you can set up sales tax or verify how much you owe in sales tax. You have your business tax with all the tax summary, year-end filing, and so on and so forth. Time, this is for your employees, and inventory. Okay, as I mentioned before, I do not recommend inventory using QuickBooks Inventory yet. It is a work in progress, and hopefully in the near future, it will be better. All right, so the first thing, like I said, we're going to go through the books review. So if you're a business owner, you're not going to see this part. However, this is very important for you to follow this process to be able to know that your books are ready to be closed. Okay, we're on the cleanup view. You can do the monthly if your books are up to date, or if you have a cleanup, you can set up the cleanup right over here. Okay, the first page we have here is the setup. The setup is going to talk about your industry, your tax entity, your accounting method, first month of fiscal year if it is regular fiscal year or not, books closing date if you have set up, what kind of subscription you have, payroll if it is available, if you use QuickBooks Payroll, sales tax if it is enabled, and apps, what kind of apps you have, Shopify, Square, PayPal, and so on and so forth. All right, so financial statements, you want to take a look at the balance sheet and the profit and loss to see how it looks. And you want to take a look at those balance and verify with your client, if you are a bookkeeper or accountant, if those balance are right. If they're not right, you may do a journal entry at the beginning of the accounting year, okay? Keep in mind anything that happened prior to that taxes were already filed, you do not want to change. You want to change the numbers only for the current year. So certain things I do not recommend to do journal entry. I do recommend to go over those accounts and see what's going on before you do anything like that. So I would make sure that I categorize all transactions and that I reconcile before I make any journal entries, okay? So here it's going to show all the bank accounts, liabilities, all the balance sheet accounts. Okay, so assets, bank accounts, credit cards, loans, equity accounts, and liabilities. Okay, so everything is here. Those accounts are to be matched to what's going on currently with the business or at the beginning of the accounting period, so that you can have the right numbers to reconcile the rest. Okay, here it says it shows you if there is any disconnected bank feed. So a lot of times banks will disconnect the connection and you want to reconnect before you can do anything, before you can start working on it, because you want all those transactions to come through for 2025 and you want to categorize all of them. Okay, so after that, you have all your accounts without activity. Take a look at those accounts and verify if there is any duplication here or anything that you should be disconnecting. Now, keep in mind that some of those accounts, it's a liability and an asset, so you need to be careful to make sure you don't just close accounts that are not supposed to be closed. And you don't want to close accounts if there is any balance in it. You want to clear that balance, do a journal entry or whatever you need to do before you close the account. If not, it's going to create an error. Okay, so this is all the liabilities, assets, and other accounts, expenses and other accounts that didn't have a lot of transactions or didn't have anything going on for a while. So without activities for 90 plus days, that may or may not have to be closed. Now, keep in mind, there are some accounts that you cannot close because they are required in QuickBooks Online. So if you try to close them, it's going to say, no, you can't. Or if there is any account that is connected to your products and service, you will, or a recurring transaction, you will not be able to close that account. So before you can close it, you want to go over your products and service and verify products and service or recurring transaction and verify where that account is connected to and disconnected before you can close it. All right. Make sure your chart of accounts has industry specific accounts if this is a cleanup. So you got to organize your chart of accounts. Make sure the chart of accounts has entity specific accounts. So C versus an S Corp versus a sole proprietorship, LLC. So you need to make sure that everything's correct here. And if it is industry, if you're obviously retail, it's going to be different from a professional and so on and so forth. You want to make sure that the accounts that are in the chart of accounts are correct. And you want to check for duplicate accounts here because you don't want any duplicated account on your books. Okay, so we're going to go up here, take a look at transactions review. You want to make sure, like I said, that all transactions have been categorized. That's the first step. If it says 0 transactions, it has been categorized all the way through November 2025 here. Okay, so next thing you want to do, you want to verify if there is any uncategorized transaction or transaction without payee, undeposited funds, or unapplied payments. If there is undeposited funds, what it may mean here is that transactions have not been matched to the transactions that clear the bank, and you want to make sure you do that. You can go over those transactions and verify if they clear on the bank. And if they have not cleared the bank, you may have to bring them back for review and then match it. Okay, keep in mind, if it is reconciled, you're not going to see that. So it has to be unreconciled so you can match it correctly. All right, so check for personal transactions. That's very important. That's a very important step. You don't want anything personal mixed up with your business. You don't want personal transactions being categorized as business, because if you're ever audited, those transactions will show up and you will have to pay taxes on that. So you want to be careful with that. Review your loan payments. Make sure that is split between principal and interest expense, because if it's not, the balance will be incorrect and you are not going to be deducting all the interest expense or any other fee expense. And record all your cash transactions. When we say record all the cash transactions, what we mean is that you will need to record all those transactions that you pay with a different form of payment, such as if you pay with a different credit card, personal funds, or anything that is not linked in this account. Okay, so now accounts reconciliation. So after all that, it's time to reconcile all the accounts, all the bank accounts, all the credit card accounts, all the liability accounts, all the equity accounts. You want to make sure that everything is reconciled, all the loans, the balance according. So before you start anything, you want to make sure you get all those transactions, and you want to make sure that you get all those statements, all your loan statements, mortgage statements, credit card statement, bank statement. If the bank statements are not coming through automatically, you want to get that from your bank. Okay. Gift card balance, if you have any. If you have liabilities, you want to make sure that you reach out to your finance provider and get that information. Unclear transactions are transactions that have not been reconciled. You want to make sure you take a look at them and see if they are indeed not reconciled because it's the current period, or if there is any kind of error. Right? Okay, so reconcile all your loan account and review all the reconciliation report. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to duplicate this page. To duplicate it, you want to right click here and click on duplicate, and now we can go back and forth. I can leave this here and I can go and verify for all the things that I want to look for, such as your reconciliation report. So if you go to reconcile on your accounting menu, you can take a look at history by account and you can view the report right from here. Okay, and the things you want to look for is the statement beginning and ending balance. Look for things that have not cleared. Okay, clear transactions, unclear transactions is very important. You want to verify why it has not cleared. Has this check not been cashed? Is this like a lost check that needs to be deleted or anything like that? Okay, payments and credit clear. It's going to show unclear charges in cash advance. You want to take a look at those transactions and see if there is anything that needs to be fixed. Okay, so there's a summary here showing all your credit cards and up to when it was reconciled. And this information is very important because if you have not reconciled all the way through the end of the year, you want to make sure you do so. All right, so after that, we'll go to the next step, which is the final review. You want to take a look if there is any open payables here, and if those open payments are indeed supposed to be open payments, or if it are things that has not been matched. If it is something that happened on the past and has not been clear, okay, you want to make sure, and you are in accrual. That's very important. You want to make sure you reverse those bills, not just delete them. If you're on the cash basis, and if this is for the current period, and this bill has been duplicated or anything like that, you know it's not supposed to be there, then you can go ahead and delete it. If it has not been matched, you want to match that to whatever bill, whatever payment you made. If there is a difference in the bill versus, or the bill payment versus whatever happened in the bank, you want to correct the bill first, record the payment, and then match. Now remember, whatever payment you record has to match the amount that hit the bank. If it doesn't, it will not match. You can match it forcibly and then create a difference, but it creates all kinds of issues. I do not recommend that. I recommend just to fix it correctly. Okay, accounts receivable. Make sure that the accounts receivable are up to date, and whatever is here are accounts that have, or bills, that invoices that have not been paid. Okay, finally, you want to take a look at the balance sheet, and you want to take a look at the profit and loss. I always start with the balance sheet. Why? Because on the balance sheet, most likely I will catch the most errors. And when I say catch the most errors, it means I'm looking at a bank account and I know that is way different than what it was on the bank statement. So if that's the case, you want to take a look and see if there has been errors on the reconciliation. And I'm going to show you how to check for that. So if you go to the chart of accounts, and let's suppose this is a checking account, says cash, but let's suppose it is the checking account. It's been reconciled to September 7th, 2024. And what I do is that I don't put anything on the front date. I click on the, oh yes, let's start from the beginning. I want to click on this little funnel here on the left hand side and open up this box, and where it says to, I'm going to put the date of the last reconciliation, which was September 2024, September 7th, 2024. Okay, and on the reconciliation status, I want to look for things that have not been reconciled, even though this account has been reconciled up to 2025. I don't put anything on the box. On the box that says from, just on the box that says to. Okay, apply, and all these transactions have not been cleared, even though I reconcile all the way through September 7th. What does that mean? It probably means that there's a lot of errors, a lot of, in this case, expense and transfers that have not been matched, and you need to correct them one by one. I have a video on how to correct that. You want to make sure you take a look at that. Okay, so if it is a duplication, you want to bring it back to for review and match it. If it is a transfer, same thing. You want to make sure you bring it back to for review to match it to the transfer. Okay. All right. So let's go back here. So that's the balance sheet. So what else do you want to take a look? Any kind of negative account here. If it is accounts receivable negative, it means that the invoices have not been applied. Maybe you're just receiving the payments, but you're not applying to an invoice. So that creates a problem here, and you don't want to do that. Okay, what else should you look for? Negative liability accounts such as loan and mortgage. What it means is that either you are not recording the interest expense, or you did not record the liability itself. So you want to make sure you do record the liability, which means the original principal when you started, and in this case for the current accounting period. Okay, I want to take a look at accounts payable and make sure that all these accounts payable are indeed open. If they are not, you want to make sure that you match it to those transactions. If it's something that happened on the past, you want to reverse that. You can delete it if you are on cash basis, and for the current period, if it is prior, you want to make sure you just do a journal entry to clear that. Okay, take a look at all the liabilities for payroll, including 401k payable, any kind of trust or assets. It means loan to employees and things like that. Okay. I want to take a look at any other. See, this negative gift card means that the original liability was not recorded, and you want to be able to fix that. You usually want to adjust it with a journal entry dated as the first of the year, so that you can bring the original balance up to date, and everything else should be there. Okay, take a look at all the or liabilities, and then finally you have all the equity accounts. You want to take a look at the owner draws. If you have an S corp, you want to make sure that this number is correct. If it's not correct, make corrections. Might be miscategorization. Okay. All right, so after you check the balance sheet, everything is done, you fix everything. Next thing, it's time to check your profit and loss. Profit and loss are all the transactions, income and expense that happen on the current accounting period. Once again, you want to take a look at negative accounts, but there are times when there are negative accounts, such as discount given, which is a counter income account, and that is always negative. Okay. All right, so maybe a refund that happened for an expense that happened on the prior year and you don't have the current expense. So anything that is negative, you want to take a look and see what's going on. If it is, like I said, if it is discount refunds, it is supposed to be negative. If it is something else, then you want to take a look, because it might be an expense, miscategorized expense, or miscategorized transaction in general. You want to take a look at your cost of goods sold and see if that represents what it needs to be. Sometimes you may have a bunch of inventory and you may realize that QuickBooks is not doing a good job with the inventory and not recording cost of goods sold correctly. So in this case, I would recommend to do a journal entry to move the inventory, adjust the inventory with the journal entry, and adjust the cost of goods sold. All right, so take a look at all the expense and see if it is correct, because remember, a lot of times you may be duplicating expenses if it's not reconciled correctly. So you want to make sure you take a look at that, or if transactions have not been matched. So that is very important. That's why it's so important to not only make sure that everything is being matched, but to verify if every transaction from your bank feed have been reconciled. If it's not, why is that? Is that because it didn't clear until the following accounting period, or if it is a duplicated transaction that needs to be removed? Okay, so take a look at all your expenses. Make sure that those expenses reflect what it should be and that there is no negative amount except for those transactions that we talk about. Okay, so this should be one of the last things we did, so we're going to go back to books review. So after we take a look at the balance sheet and the profit and loss, if you're an accountant, this part is very important for you because this is where you prepare the reports for your client. Okay, first you're going to prepare the reports, send the package, and close the books. Okay, to prepare the reports, you can go ahead and click on select, and you're going to open it. And here is where you're going to put the name of the company, the accounting period, your name right over here. Something that is very important for you to include is the time period over here. You can change it here. If it is for this year, it's fine. If it is for last fiscal year, it's right here. And you want to take a look at what reports are included in here, but you cannot change in here. You can change on the next. Here is your preliminary pages where you're going to discuss all the reports and in all your preparation for the financial. Okay, finally, the report charts is where you adjust all the reports you're sending. So we have the profit and loss, balance sheet, statement of cash flow. We can add, if you are a retail company and you collect sales tax, you want to do the sales tax report as well. Oh, okay. Okay, I can type here sales tax report. Summary, sales tax summary, standard report. You want to take a look. If you run payroll through QuickBooks, very important. Only if you run payroll through QuickBooks, you can add the payroll summary report. Now, this account does not have payroll, so you're not going to see it. So that's why we don't see it. But if you do, you're going to see it here. And another report that is very important for your accountant is the general ledger. And the standard general ledger should do it. This is the record of every single transaction that happened here. And you want your accountant to have that. Okay, so after you prepare all that, your end notes. By the way, this is where you put the evaluation. Maybe you can compare your reports. And if you're a business owner and you do it yourself and you want to share this with a partner or an investor, here is where you put all the evaluation of your financials. Okay, plug in if you're not an accountant, plug in your profit and loss into a trusted AI tool. I would not recommend to just put it on unpaid ChatGPT. That's not the case. You don't want to do that. But you want to do a trusted AI provider to evaluate your financial. And trusted, that means paid. Okay, pay for your ChatGPT or whatever AI you use, and have it evaluate the financials. And here's where you put that preliminary, comparing your financial to the prior accounting period, and doing forecast and things like that. You want to use this and share with your client. Okay, after all is done here, we want to save and close. You want to do it like in this case, I would say 2025, and that shows that for the whole year. And then at this point, I can actually take a look at my management reports, which is under reports. Okay, management reports, and you can do a preview. Oh, keep in mind that here the reporting period disappears, so I want to make sure that I select that. So I'm going to select last fiscal year or last year, if your fiscal year is January through December. And then from here you can preview. This is what your client is going to see, everything organized with the client logo. It is beautiful. The table of content, what is in here, You're going to see your profit and loss first, balance sheet, statement of cash flow, tax, sales tax report, summary, general ledger, and payroll reports if you have any. So everything is going to be here, and you can save it to PDF at this point and send it to your client. And or if you're a business owner, you still can create all these reports on the management, and you want to send this to you, but not through the same way that we showed you, which is the books review. You just have to prepare that under management reports. Okay, after you save that, you can send it as PDF to all people that needs to have that, including your CPA, your business partner, investor, or whoever needs to see the reports. Okay, this is it. Okay, let me go back here. All right, I hope this was useful. It is the end of the year, and you need to make sure that everything has been done correctly. Like I said, if you're a business owner, you want to follow this procedure to make sure if somebody else does the books for you, to make sure that all these steps have been taken. That's how you know the work has been done. If you are not a business owner, if you're an accountant or bookkeeper, this is what you need to do to make sure you get everything ready for your client. These are the steps. Now, I want to ask you a favor. If you like this content, we have worked really hard to bring this content to you. And there's one favor that I'm going to ask you is to subscribe to the channel. If you're not sure that you have subscribed, but you enjoy this content, you come back over and over again, make sure you subscribe to it. Click on that button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means the world to me. So subscribe. If you have any question, write down below, okay? This is how you communicate with me. Write down below your questions. We're going to get back to you pretty fast. And come back for more. And if you need any further assistance, if you're a business owner and you're like, forget about that, keep in mind we do the service ourselves. Or if you are a DIY person and you want to do it yourself, but you need some guidance or somebody to take a second look, you can contact us. You can actually hire us for a one-on-one tutorial. And if you are an accountant or bookkeeper that needs extra assistance, especially if you're dealing with integrations such as Square, Shopify, and so on and so forth, and you get a little lost in reconciling those clearance accounts, please contact us. We're going to have the number down below as well as our email, so you can contact us and hire us to help you further. And I am super excited for the next year. We know it's going to be a successful year, but in order to be a successful year, you need to be able to have the right numbers, and we're going to help you with that. And we're going to be back for more. And until next time, keep on smiling.